Hi, I'm Glenn Morgan and this is We the Govern. Thank you for watching this video. The story today is going to be from Thurston County in Washington State, and there's going to be an article that actually has a lot of the source documents that were provided in this video, and the article is going to be linked at the bottom of this video so you can get more information if you go there. Now, the video that we're doing today is about a large tax increase that's been proposed in Thurston County for a new courthouse. And we did a video on this subject a couple weeks ago, but when we put that video out, there was a lot of response from elected officials and bureaucrats, and there was a lot of critique, and this video is a response to the criticisms that they've sent out about the previous video. And hopefully we can address those issues in the video here today about just how big this tax increase really is, whether the City of Olympia actually is going to be able to pay for their portion of it, and whether there's what exactly is involved in the maintenance on the historic courthouse that we're in right now. So the first thing I want to point out is that I had mentioned in the earlier video that there was a 39.5% tax increase for that courthouse. And that is not correct. It is actually a 38.5% tax increase. I don't know if I was using Common Core math or what I was doing to get to the incorrect number, but the correct number is a 38.5% tax increase. I did make that correction in the original article, and I'd made a comment correction, but I want to point that out here. That was an error that we had in the original video. Also, just because some people were confused, since I am talking about Thurston County and their tax increase, this is about Thurston County's property tax increase, not about other jurisdictions' tax increases. It's not about the tax increase that the state has imposed on every property owner as a result of their McCleary fix, education fix issue. It's not about Olympia's tax increases, which they seem to propose on a frequent basis, in which I usually write the con statements for them. It's not about the fire district tax increases. It's only the tax increases that Thurston County can impose. Now, there's a lot of different ways to represent the cost of these tax increases to the average voter. One way you can represent the cost is to say for an average property, roughly around $300,000 of value in Thurston County, for the life of this tax, you're going to be paying about $3,525. And that's one way you can represent the cost impact to the average family and the average taxpayer in Thurston County. Now, another way you could do that is to look at a variety of different valuations for your property and say how much you would actually be paying for the length of this large tax increase on your piece of property. You're going to be paying $7,000 if you have a home that's valued around $600,000, which a lot of the homes in the City of Olympia and Lacey and elsewhere are valued around that level. There's another way to look at it. You could look at, say, a little neighborhood, which I've done here. This is a Google Earth image of a small neighborhood near the Capitol High School in the City of Olympia. And if you actually were to look at this on a lot basis, the actual cost per property owner is laid out here pretty well. And this is how much they're going to be paying for this new courthouse. It can be everywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 per homeowner with some variation there. Just depends on the valuation of your property. Now, I bring all this up because oftentimes one of the things they try to propose is it's only a latte a day, or it's only just a small amount of money in a very small amount of time frame. But the reality is the way people budget, these costs are significant. It's kind of an elitist perspective that you have from senior bureaucrats and elected politicians who make quite a bit of money, and they don't see the impact that these continuous increases in taxes actually have to regular people. Now, one of the questions that has also been raised, and I think it's worth addressing, is how much exactly will this courthouse cost? In the original proposal that you as taxpayers paid for here in estimating construction costs for this plan, not all of which was given to the public yet. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. In that proposal, there's basically two cost estimates for this new courthouse. The first estimate, which had been released to the public, was around $300 million. It was actually $315 million that they proposed. And there was a second proposal put in there for $250 million. And these are the two cost ranges that staff and they're basically the plan that they're going to kind of run with. The truth is, of course, we don't know how much it's really going to cost. This group of people and bureaucrats, they have very poor track record for building buildings and managing them, so we don't really know what the final cost is going to be. Now, supposedly, the City of Olympia is going to be responsible for paying a portion of those costs. In this case, roughly $22 million, maybe. And the reason why I say maybe is that in Washington state, there's a limitation on how much local jurisdictions can actually go into debt when it comes to property tax bonding or debt that they take out. And it's really a good thing that generations ago this law was passed and that we have it, because otherwise some jurisdictions would have gone out of control long ago and we would be in a much worse shape than we are today. But regardless, what it does is it sets a limitation of how much taxes you can actually impose on a given property owner. And this is a good thing. But in the city of Olympia, Olympia has regularly imposed debt bonding, debt financing periodically, and they're getting frighteningly close to kind of that limit. Now, you can see here in January earlier this year, there was a proposal, or this kind of is a spreadsheet that Olympia puts out with their budget, and it explains just how much debt they actually have. And it's quite a bit. It's about $76 million in debt. And this is the debt they could basically add to without having to go back to a vote of the people. And they're getting closer to their debt limit. And just to give you an example, they do increase the debt periodically. At a May 21st city council meeting recently, just as part of the regular order of business, they proposed a $14 million bond, which had a $4 million increase in how much debt the citizens of the city of Olympia actually have. And it was just passed as a matter of course at that city council meeting. So as they increased their debt on a fairly regular basis, that original chart that I showed you isn't even accurate anymore. They've already added more debt to that. So it isn't clear that there's actually enough room for the city of Olympia to add more debt to the citizens who live there in order to pay for this courthouse proposal. And just to give you an idea of how kind of unplanned or unthought through this whole thing is, so the Thurston County Commissioner, Ty Menser, in his Facebook page recently said, hey, Glenn Morgan's video was wrong, and there's a lot of misinformation there. But one of the comments on that Facebook post was from Olympia City Council member Jim Cooper, who mentioned that the city is going to try to find some way to pay back the voters of Thurston County, the taxpayers of Thurston County, for the portion that Olympia supposedly is going to be liable for paying on this big $300 million courthouse. Now, just to show you how kind of incestuous and inbred politics is in Thurston County, the wife of Jim Cooper, the city councilman Jim Cooper, is actually the assistant for Thurston County Commissioner Ty Menser. It's a small world. Politics is a small playing field, and the elite are basically, it's a small club there, and they don't even know how they're going to pay for this for sure. And this really goes back, unfortunately, to the beginning of this idea. Last year in the meeting minutes, when they were talking about the proposal for this courthouse, they had a Citizens Advisory Committee meeting. And if you look at these meeting minutes, the Thurston County manager, Romero Chavez, actually said that it didn't look like there was any way to get 60% of the voters in Thurston County to approve any kind of a proposal that would support building a new courthouse. They recognized that right away. And part of that, they've tried before in 2004, it failed miserably. And I think there's a general recognition that the voters in Thurston County don't want to have more of these proposals out there. So they were trying to come up with some way to, get this tax proposal through regardless. One of the things they referenced in here was that in 2017, they convinced the legislature to explicitly, just for Thurston County, allow extending the length of time you could pay back a bond, from 9 years, which is what it was currently and where it is for everybody else in the state of Washington, to 25 years. And that allows them to borrow a lot more money and basically charge a lot more, and you're going to be paying a lot more in property taxes over time. And then, of course, it doesn't include the interest. So this proposal has been out there for quite a while, and this plan has been out there for a while. And unfortunately, I think the taxpayers are the ones who lose. And more importantly, future generations who aren't even born, can't even vote yet, are going to be the ones stuck with the lion's share of this bill. And I think that's why it's incumbent on us to really get out there and pay attention to what's going on in Thurston County before it becomes worse. Now let's talk about building maintenance, because this was something else that I had referenced in the original video that we did about this a few weeks ago, and it was something that staff and some elected officials have responded to. Now, staff says that they've spent $2.7 million on maintenance in 2018 on all these buildings. But that's a misleading number. It's maintenance and operations, at least the way they break down their budget numbers, and it really applies to 22 different buildings they have scattered all over Thurston County. And if you really look at the 5 buildings that they're mainly focused on replacing with this new courthouse, that actual amount for that year is closer to $960,000. And that still sounds like a pretty big number, but it's quite anemic when you look at the fact that over the last 6 years before that, they've spent a lot less. And you can go back through 2012 and you can see in some years they spent very little preventative maintenance or no preventative maintenance in many cases. And a lot of these dollars are kind of fluffed up with other types of basic maintenance and operations that you would normally have regardless. But it's very clear that Thurston County staff and the bureaucracy in general and previous elected officials refused to invest anything in this building, the existing courthouse, to make sure that they're in good shape. And now they're using the fact that there's a lot of maintenance problems with the current courthouse caused by a failure to invest in it and a failure to do maintenance that would have been a lot cheaper had they done it when they needed to. And now they're using that as part of the excuse to justify going to a new courthouse. And I was able to pull this information from the spreadsheets. They have snapshot spreadsheets if you're willing to do the records requests and dig into the budget at Thurston County. It's not particularly exciting to do this, but you can go through and you can actually pull a lot of this information there. And I'll try to link these articles again, as I mentioned in the article that the source documents, will put it in the article that we write about this. Now, at the end of the day, the issue is still the same that we discussed several weeks ago with that previous video. And that is that Thurston County is wasting a lot of money and proposing to waste a lot of money on a new courthouse that it doesn't even appear that we need. And they're choosing to do it in kind of a sneaky way and it's legal, but it's sneaky, I think, by proposing it in an April ballot when a very small percentage of the voters will actually be able to participate. If they really wanted community buy-off for this, they would take this and propose it in November, but they haven't. They've decided to put it on the April ballot. So a very small percentage of the people they're hoping will participate, and they're hoping just barely get across the finish line. If they really thought there was citizen support for this, they would do a revenue-backed bond at 60% voter approval. But they're pretty positive that the voters of Thurston County won't go there, won't support it. So they're doing it in kind of a sneaky way. And again, they're locating it in downtown Olympia, where a lot of people who live in Thurston County don't want to have to fight through homeless attic camps to try to get through all that mess just to get to court. So I think there's a lot of problems with this proposal. I think the video that we originally did adequately addressed a lot of those in the staff-driven process that got us here. But I hope this video helped clarify it a little bit more and address some of the criticisms that have been leveled at the previous video. Again, if you want to learn more, please go to wethegovern.com, and I encourage you to go to the article that supports this video. You can look at some of the source documents there. And if you like this story or this article, this video, please share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much, and look forward to chatting with you next time.